changed the game. All the money that advertisers were putting in magazines and newspapers, it changed because now there were new forms of uh, media. There was radio and television. Okay. So as radio and television developed, magazines lost advertising revenue. But newspapers that relied less on national advertising remained the dominant medium for local advertisers. Okay, so it is important now to note that newspapers that were not more into national advertising remained relevant and remained dominant in the sense that they were advertising local products. An example might be, think of a newspaper that focuses in KZN, Daily News. Daily News focuses in KZN. So they are saying during the 20th century, those newspapers that were dominant in local areas remained relevant and dominant in terms of accumulating advertisements. Why? Because they were concentrating with local advertisers. Just like here in Durban, if we had a Durban company, it will advertise in Durban. Okay. So that's how they managed to survive. Okay. Um, then magazines with a broad readership were most severely affected. Okay, so the introduction of radio and television affected magazines, especially those with broad readership that were nationalized. Okay, as many advertisers shifted their attention to special interest publications to reach more narrowly defined audience. Okay, an example is, think of a magazine that concentrates on space on an area of beauty. That's a magazine that deals with cosmetics, with beauty stuff, beauty products. Now they are saying those magazines that had an area of specialty, they survived because they narrowed their shift from, instead of targeting everyone, they were specifically targeting those that are interested in those areas. Even up to now, these days we have magazines that are of special interest in a special area. Okay, we have car magazines. They specialize in cars. They'll just see everything it's about cars. Then you see advertisements maybe about motor cars. You see advertisements about spare parts, tires, things like that, branding of cars. Why? Why did these type of magazines survived? They survived because they narrowed. Instead of targeting everybody, you'll be wasting money, it's useless, you print a lot. They said, no, let's shift, let's have a paradigm shift from, instead of targeting even useless people, let's just target those that we feel are interested in in our area. Okay. However, a broad range of specialist magazines began to appear, like I was explaining. Today, we have political magazines, we have car magazines, we have pilot magazines, we have pornographic magazines, things like that. They are all different areas of industries. So at this stage now, in the 20th century, when there was that shift, when there was that paradigm shift from advertising to everybody to an area of specialty, following the Great Depression and World War II, there was a conscious return to traditional family values. At this stage, automobiles, which are cars, surpassed packaged goods and cigarettes as the most heavily advertised product. So after the Great Depression in the United States and after the World War, advertisements of cars was so dominant, was so important, because now automobiles was becoming a commercial thing. The Ford were advertising, Mercedes Benz, the BMWs, whatever cars, they were so into advertisements. And the spending on advertisement of automobiles, it changed predominantly and it influenced how the advertising industries run. Okay. Then children were targeted for the first time. Okay, so after World War II now, children were being targeted for the first time with products including records, radios, magazines, soft drinks, and pornographs. Okay, so for the first time now, we started seeing adverts that were targeting children. radios, on magazines, things like that. Okay. Then in 1958, the famous Okba advert produced by DDB appeared. Okay. The question becomes, why is this still considered a groundbreaking advert? Okay. Petit in 2014 answered this and he said, this ad may just be the single most important ad of all time. Not just because it was the first time a retailer branded its customers instead of itself, it was suddenly cheap to be cheap. Not just because of the irresistible juxtaposition of arresting visuals and catchy headline, not even because it was one of the first and best examples of Bernanke's idea that every art, like every person or product, should have a distinct personality, but because it was Bernanke's work of Obax that several years later attracted the US importers of an ugly little car from Germany, Volkswagen. Okay. They are saying the advert that was produced in 1958 by DDB, it was great to the extent the juxtaposition. What does that mean? It means does anybody know what that means? Juxtaposition. Zianda, what does that mean?
Can you please repeat? I couldn't hear you clearly.
Oh, I said juxtaposition. What does it mean?
Oh, I'm actually not sure, to be honest.
Okay. Who do you want you to help you?
Pardon?
Who can help you? Choose anyone there to help you.
Someone that I would like to help me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would like Senzo to help me if I'm saying it right.
Oh, Zenzo, please help Zianda.
I'm not sure, but I think it's placing two contrasting things together, or
Yes,
something like that.
yes, that's correct. You put two placement of two. It can be two different ideas. It can be two pictures, very contrasting. It can be two different things. Okay, so that's just a position. It usually works in advertisements, in politics, and things like that. It's placing side by side. It can be two different pictures with two different meanings. Okay, it's like you can place an EFF here, then you place a DA here. Okay, and you have a certain headline about that particular story. Okay, so that's just a position. Okay. I don't know who's that, but do you mind if you can switch off your mic there? You can hear music there. Zianda, can you mute your mic, please? Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, so let's move on now. Okay. So now let's look at the following Coca-Cola advert. Okay. So the following ad, it was in a print. It's a print ad that was between 19th and 20th century. Okay. It was created during the poster era when posters were a thing. Okay. You look at that ad, it says Coca-Cola ranked at number 1 as a brand of the 20th century due to its longevity, brand values, and global positioning. Okay. Disney was ranked at number 2. The composite below provides a selection of well-known and well-loved Coca-Cola print ads from the last century, as well as the 3 famous paintings created the brand and used for the past decades, in 1920 and 1930. And remember last week we even argued that Coca-Cola might be the most famous company in the world. You find it everywhere, and everybody, somewhere, somehow, has been exposed to a Coca-Cola ad. Okay. So here's the lesson activity that you're gonna do. All this. So there'll be videos there. Is I'll share. If you go on Core Campus, you would find all this material. If you don't access it, as usual, you send me an email. Then I'll send you this presentation as well. And the activity is there. Okay, so we want to do this activity. Then I gave you another activity last week. Is it correct? Zenzo, I did give you an activity last week, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so we're going to discuss that activity. I'm sure everybody did that activity. Okay, so before we get into that one, let's do this one. Okay. In your own understanding, how has the internet changed advertising? In your own understanding. Future CEO, what's your name? Okay, I don't know if they can hear or what's happening there. Okay. Okay, let me start with you, Aquanum. How has the internet changed advertising from your own understanding?
The internet has made it more, how can I put it? It's changed like the perspective of everything, because now things are more graphic, and the internet makes it more powerful and sophisticated in terms of like everyone's on the internet, and every day you see adverts on the internet. So with the internet, you're slowly seeing posters minimize, and yeah, something like that.
Okay. Yes, I like the word that you used there. You said sophistication. It means internet is sophisticated. There is now element of time. There's element of speed. Okay. There's element of accessibility. Now we can access things world over. Things that are happening in Japan, we can access them right now. It will be like we are in Japan. Just like now we are having this lesson. You are where you are. I am where I am. It is cut speed and time. Instead of us, if there was no internet right now, we wouldn't do our lessons. Maybe I'll write everything down. I have to mail it to you to take days to reach you. Now it's no longer days. It's a matter of seconds. So that's how internet has changed the game. How has it changed advertising as well? Instead of paying a lot of money advertising in newspapers, companies they can actually create their own adverts and advertise on their own on internet. So that's the beauty of internet. It means now the advertiser he can own the content, he can control when to advertise, how to advertise, and where to advertise. This is all because of internet. Okay. Um, Zenzo, what role, if any, do social media platforms play?
So in essence, I feel like social media platforms connect masses of people, just like how advertising does, I guess. So it's more easier to communicate with people through social media platforms, because you reach a huge amount of people that share like share interests that are alike, basically. See, so I feel like in that sense, it makes advertising more successful, you know, because you are able to reach masses of people. You are able to see what different people like, and what you should invest in more, or like what human beings react to. Because Ty Lopez had it. Okay, but let me not be boring. But anyway, yes, it basically creates that platform, that environment where people that share the same ideas and thoughts are able to be in one, and advertisers are basically able to locate them easier in order to promote their products and so forth.
Yes,
That's what I think.
and now social media, yes, it's a public forum. It's a platform that has given everybody an opportunity to be creative. Like I said, back in the day, in order for you to advertise, you had to advertise in a newspaper, you had to advertise in a magazine, you had to advertise on TV, and there were certain adverts that either television will say, no, we can't air this. Radio say, no, we can't air this. It's too explicit. The content is not in line with our house policy. But now with social media platforms, it has changed that. A company can create any ad, any campaign, and it can post it on their own platforms. And social media platforms, again, the element of time and the element of bringing together different people from different backgrounds. With TV, it's limited. With TV, you ad, it's very expensive. You can't air your ad maybe, let's say, every day for a minute is so expensive. But with social media, you can do that. You can advertise every day, every hour, every. That's why you see every time we go on Twitter or on Instagram, we see different advertisements. Okay, it's kind of easier for them to advertise on social media platforms because they know a lot of people now are on these platforms. Okay, so the role of social media is undeniable. It's very important. It is of fundamental importance to advertisers and to the people as well. Okay. Then the next question, third question there. Do you think social media platforms should be allowed to track and store user information if that information is made public available? Who do I have here? Okay. It's for you, Aquana. What you think? Social media platforms, should they be allowed to take our data, to store our information? What do you think? Are you there, Aquana?
Oh, is that the
Question.
information in terms of like personal information in terms of our address and
Yes, correct.
I say no. I don't think they should, because firstly it's not safe. And sometimes the scams that are happening, and you never know if the actual adverts is from that specific brand of people or if it's scammers. So I don't think it's safe for them to track and store our information unless we willingly do it, agree to it. I mean, then I guess it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like what you say, security is most important thing. Social media platforms shouldn't allow to take our private data. But if that information is made public availably, if the information is available publicly, then, well, if it's your name, it's your name. But security-wise now, in terms of your password, your messages, those should always be between you and your communicator, between you and whoever you are communicating with. But if it's that information that is public, well, I'm sure they can take. I'm sure right now you have noticed this. Once someone gives you his cell phone number, you punch that number into your phone, and if that person uses that number, automatically Facebook picks up. The moment you go on Facebook and you start to see people you may know, you will see the very people that you have contacts with, but are not your friends on Facebook. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Yes. So This is some of the things that they are talking about. Another example is, have you noticed, let's say you are shopping online, you Google some, let's say whatever, sneakers, you go different companies selling sneakers online, you look at Adidas, you look at Nike. The other time you log in onto social media, either on Instagram, on Facebook, you're going to start to see advertisements about sneakers. If you notice that as well.
They show you the things that you're most likely to want to see and that you search on a regular.
Yes. So they actually take your data, your history of searching, your history of where you've been on websites and stuff like that. They combine it, then they look at it and say, okay, so you're likely looking for a cell phone. Then they start to show you advertisements about cell phone. If you're looking at sneakers, they'll also start to look at your history, which website did you browse, things like that. Then they start showing you advertisements about sneakers. Okay. Last question there is, how, if at all, do you think internet advertising will evolve? You have to think about your positive and your negatives. What you think, Zenzo? Question 4 there.
Well, despite the fact that there really isn't any privacy, I feel like I personally feel like there's a high chance that people will be more aware of their surroundings and actually start living life for a greater cause, meaning they'll start to rebel against systematic protocols and so forth. So in the near future, I feel like advertising will be effective to the point where it gets irritating. If you get what I'm trying to say, because everyone's trying to
Are
get
you
the
saying
attention of
advertising?
the other person.
Internet advertising? Or advertising?
Yeah, in internet.
Okay.
No, in internet. Because slowly, I feel like we're moving into a sort of environment where even WhatsApp's gonna start showing us advertisements type of thing. I know it's ridiculous, it sounds ridiculous, but I feel like that's where we headed, because like she mentioned, even if you search something stupid, it's going to show up on either your Instagram or your Facebook and so forth. So I feel like it's those are one of some of the negative things, and maybe the positives could be that anything that you want will easily become accessible. Like as an individual, if you want a shoe, you'll just, the moment you think about it, then you'll get like a store that pops up on your phone or whatever, that already knows the shoe just by you thinking about it. So some innovative ideas like that, and just something crazy along those lines is the positive effects, arguably. But yeah, I feel like we're moving into a scary world. Honestly, I really don't want to give my hopes up too high. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Okay. So, like what you said, the positive will be accessibility, quick accessibility, the speed of you accessing things, accessing products or services. It would be great. Okay. And internet advertising will evolve to the extent that even our privacy will be invaded. Like what you say, recently even WhatsApp announced that they are going to put advertisements on status. So that means if you have a WhatsApp on your phone, you will definitely see an ad, regardless of either you like it or not. The fact that you have a WhatsApp, they'll start advertising there as well. Okay. So that means our freedom is being taken away. Our ability to choose yes or no, it will be away. So hence internet advertising, it's leading us more into a global village where everybody we are connected, just like what we are now. Everybody is connected through the internet. Everybody is connected. We're living in a global village due to internet. Everyone, somewhere, somehow, we know each other through Facebook. I might not be your friend, but I have a mutual friend that you know. You understand what I'm saying? So all these can be negative, can be positive as well. Okay. But invasion of a privacy, that's definitely a negative. When WhatsApp start to put advertisements on your status, that's boring. That's evolving in a very boring, long, subdued way. But the good thing about it is to bring more services and products closer to you. It's easier for you now to just go on your phone, do online shopping. Oh, there's an advert from Sports Scene, just like this t-shirt. You buy it, it's delivered. You understand? That's another positive that you might look at. But the most important negative is invasion of privacy, the ability to choose your options, A or B, being taken away. Okay. Do we have any questions? Any questions? Okay, so if you don't have questions, remember the last week that that activity that I gave everybody to do. Did we watch the end? This Cosmo Men stand-up advert. Did we watch it? It features a lot of celebrities, Nasty C, and so forth. Did y'all all watch this ad? Silence means yes, Zenzo.
Yes, we did.
You did.
Well, I did.
Okay. Akuna, did
Yeah.
you watch it?
No, actually, I was having internet problems the whole week.
Okay. It's a very good, solid excuse. Okay. Noma Google, did you watch it? Okay. Okay. So in order for us to discuss this, that means you need to watch the advert so that you can understand or be able to answer these questions. Okay. Zenzo, you watched it, isn't it? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let me see how long it is, okay? If it's less than a minute or so, we'll just quickly watch it, then we discuss, okay? Okay, it's a bit long. Let's watch the first part.
It's not showing on the screen.
It's not playing on the screen.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, let me see. Okay, what about now?
Yeah, it's playing now.
Hold on. I'll give you this copy if you give me your number. Yeah. Don't you think this topic is a bit revealing for the board meeting? Hi, Vanessa Sweetie. Can you please organize a baby shower gift for Susan? Thank you, little baby. Thank you. Woo! Hey, baby, don't run, don't be scared. Slow down, baby, how? and I thought I'd send a drink over.
Actually got my own drink, so I'm okay.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Though.
Yeah. Come on, why are you being surprised? Babe, a pretty man needs a pretty drink. Let me try. Let me
Okay.
try. It's okay.
I'm okay.
A free drink.
Okay.
Come on, why are you being so surprised? It's a Friday night. If I was your girl, I would never let a snack like you go out alone. Ooh.
Okay, so that's the ad there. Okay. Okay, so let's get back to the question. Okay, so I'm sure everybody you did see the ad. Okay, it's quite a long ad. Okay, so does this advert conform with the definition of advertising? Remember what we said advertising is last week. Do you think this ad falls under advertising? Akona.
Sorry, please repeat.
Okay, the first question. Does this advert conform with the definition of advertising? So do you think the advert that you saw there, it falls under advertising from the definition that we learned?
Yes, it does. I think it does.
Mhm.
To me, it does.
Why you say so?
It's using. It's showing people. How can I put it in proper English? It's making people aware of what's happening around them and showcasing things that are actually happening in our everyday lives. And yeah.
Mhm. Correct. Remember, we say advertising is the attempt to influence, it can be the buying behavior of customers or clients. So in this case, okay, it's not the buying behavior, but it's trying to influence change. It's trying to influence the change of behavior in terms of how we treat women. Okay,
Yes.
correct. So it falls under advertising. Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so what functions of advertising, if any, does this advert fulfill, Zenzo? What functions of advertising, if any, does this advert fulfill? Think of your advertising functions, then think of this advertisement, then think of, okay, so what does this advertisement fulfill?
The advertisement successfully carries out the task of informing us about basically the advertiser's message that they're trying to get across.
Mhm.
So it's not necessarily, well, in this case, they're not selling a product, they're just trying to, get a message out there, in my opinion. That's sort of what I see there. So in essence, yeah, I feel like the advert has successfully carried out the task of informing the audience about the message that the company aims to give off
Mhm.
to
And yes,
promote that.
okay. And remember, one of the functions of advertising is to inform and also to influence a change of behavior. In this instance, this advertisement is trying to influence a change of behavior for men, not to abuse women, isn't it? Mhm. So
Yes.
how, if at all, is this advert effective? Do you think this advert is very effective? Did it make any changes? What makes this a successful advertising campaign? Just shortly, Akona, do you think this advert was successful, or was it effective at all?
Yes, I think it was effective because I think now if like any men have watched it, they'll now become more aware of like their actions. Not saying that all men tend to do what it was being done in the adverts, but now they'll be more aware of their surroundings and they'll know what to say and what not to do. And yeah.
Okay, correct. And then lastly, why do you think this advert is relevant to the audience? To the audience, we assume the audience is South African. Why do you think this is relevant?
Well, I think it's relevant because it makes use of South African artists and well-known public figures as victims to successfully convey this message or send this message across.
Yes, correct. So that advert, it's more of an informative advert. It's more of an educative advert. It's educating, it's informing us that 34% of women face sexual harassment. Okay, so it's enlightening the South African audience. So the creative part there, they changed the tables. That think of it. This is what women face every day. When women walk in the street, guys, hey, I need your number. Hey, where are you from? Everybody wants to talk to women. So they changed the table there, then they let you guys be confronted with women and feel and just how it feels that everywhere you go, everybody wants your number. This is the daily things that happen every day to women. Okay. So it was very informative, it's very educative, and surely it falls under advertisement. In a way, it's informing and trying to change the behavior of men, not to see women as just sex tools or just to see women as people where you just say a lot of things. Hey, you're